Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm Dr. Wayne Pernell, Dr. P, the Outfluencer. I'm your guide on this journey, and today we have a special, truly special guest. Her name is Tricia Brouk. She began in a small town, loving dance, growing into becoming an award-winning director in New York. There's so much more in between. She has been a friend, a guide, a mentor, and what a pleasure to have you here, Tricia.
Dr. P, it's so awesome to be here. Wayne, it's really, truly a pleasure. I'm super excited to have a conversation with you today.
Yeah, thank you. It's wow. All right. Well, let's jump into this. Talk to me a little bit about where'd you start? And remember, in terms of one sharp sword, we are cutting through to what matters most, which means that along the way, each of us has had our share of stuff that we've had to overcome. You had very a modest beginning, right?
I grew up on a farm in a small town in Missouri.
That sounds
And
so great. I just wanted to stop you right there. I grew up in a farm in a small town in Missouri. It sounds like the opening to a book. I love this. All right.
perhaps that will become a reality. I knew that I was going to move to New York City literally when I saw a dance recital. I went to see my sister. She was 3 years old, perform. She was in a pink poodle costume. And my mother put her in dance school because she was very shy. And I thought, wait a minute, that's a thing? Dancing is a thing? So I said to my mom, I have to join a dance studio. I have to dance. And at the time, I was a bluebird, which is the precursor to brownies, which is the precursor to Girl Scouts. And she said, you have to choose. We can't afford both. You either stay in bluebirds or you go to dancing school. And that was a no-brainer. Dancing school all the way. I joined the Denoyer Dance Studio when I was 7 years old. And I remember saying to Mrs. Denoyer, and it was Mrs. Denoyer and Sharon Denoyer. They were a mother-daughter team. I said to Mrs. Denoyer, I know that you take all the new girls and that Sharon works with all the advanced. I'm going to be working with Sharon in the next 2 years. I'm going to be on point and I'm going to be dancing with Baryshnikov. I was so crystal clear with what it was I wanted and the desire of that. And sure enough, you're not really supposed to be on point before you're 10 or 11 because your feet haven't fully developed, right? So I went on point. I became obsessed with Gelsey Kirkland and Baryshnikov on PBS. I watched every single dance show I could. I subscribed to Dance Magazine, which came in the mail every month. I was obsessed. And then I began competing. Sharon was my coach, my teacher, my dance mentor, and she would teach me a solo, and then she would put me in a dance competition and with a group. But the solo stuff is really where I understood the power of discipline, the power of consistency, what it really meant to be an athlete, and that New York was a possibility. Every summer, she would take me to New York City, and we would study at the Broadway Dance Center and Steps. We would go see Broadway musicals every single summer. So I studied with her through high school and declared to my parents, I'm moving to New York at 17. And they said, no, you're not. You're going to college. And I thought, dancers don't go to college. They move to New York and they dance with Baryshnikov. So intelligently, smartly, following their direction, I went to the University of Missouri, which is what we could afford, and studied journalism with something in mind. That small town, Columbia, Missouri, had 3 colleges: a teacher's college, a dance college, and the journalism school, which is where I was enrolled. If you were enrolled in one of these colleges full time, you could take classes for free at any of the others. So that's what I did. I was going to school full time for journalism while taking dance classes for free at Stevens College. And within the first semester, they offered me a full scholarship, so I transferred. And because I still wanted to get to New York so badly, I went through a 3-year, 2-summer accelerated BFA program in dance and moved to New York when I was 20 years old. Got a job waiting tables started working at the Paul Taylor Dance Studio, Cunningham on scholarship, and pursued my career as a professional concert modern dancer. I also realized that I didn't want to be a starving artist. So I started a fitness company so that I could tour the world with dance companies, making money, having my dream life, and still making money in New York City because I hired consultants to train my clients. So I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Cut to dancing with Baryshnikov. That was one of the most amazing things because when it happened, it was like normal. I had had such an incredible, successful, amazing career that walking into the studio with him and sitting on the floor, warming up was part of my life at that point. It was an incredible opportunity and an incredible reminder that when we make, when we have a dream or a wish, it's not enough. It needs to be reality. It needs to be a desire that has already happened. So then when it happens, you're ready for it. So that's something that I think is really interesting. And I didn't know that. I wasn't conscious of that until maybe a year or two ago, Wayne, in terms of what breakthroughs look like. Let me catch you up to where I'm at now. I moved from dancing to directing to writing to producing, working in feature film, television, musicals. And 3 years ago, a friend reached out and said, I am doing a TEDx. I want you to direct me. And I thought, that sounds really fun, just like a one-woman show. We'll do script analysis, we'll do blocking and choreography. I'll direct you like an actor. We'll work on intention, objective, and action. And that's what we did. And it was really, really fun. And I never thought anything of it. And after that, she said, you should do this. And I thought, okay. So I put out into the universe, I'm going to start working with thought leaders on helping them get onto big stages because I know how to do script analysis. I know how to write shows. I know what an arc is and a through line. I know how to direct somebody and create a safe space so that they can be vulnerable and share that important message, which is going to ultimately make the world a better place. And all of a sudden I had all these speakers and nowhere to put them. And what does a theater producer do? Produce shows. What's the best show for speakers? TEDx. So I applied, I got my license. I became the executive producer of TEDx Lincoln Square in New York City, produced 2 sold out standing ovation events, and then decided I wanted more creative control over my own show. So I became the executive producer of Speakers Who Dare. And now what I do is I coach speakers to go on other people's TEDx stages. And I have learned that by actually being vocal with the words, the conscious words, I'm going to make the world a better place. I've been able to do that by supporting over 45 speakers onto more than 15 TED stages. I'm supporting you right now with your incredible, incredible idea worth spreading, your keynote, your powerful message. And it is truly an honor to be in purpose and on purpose, because if we go back to cutting through, I was living unconsciously, and I was very competent. I had drive, I had tenacity, I had grit, I had discipline, I had talent. So lots of success, but I was not competent, meaning I didn't understand the power in the field of potentiality, the power of the universe. And when I tapped into that, more became possible. And I'm not talking about more meaning more things. I'm talking about more possibility to serve the planet. And that is the bigness of what I'm talking about. And that is why every morning when I get up, I am driven by the desire to support more people in sharing their message, because not only will they change someone's life, they will ultimately save someone's life. And I am not taking that lightly. When we have the opportunity to communicate in an authentic, heart-centered, dignified way, our truth, and we reach that one person, they may change their mind about how their life looks. They may change their mind about living or dying. They may change their mind about how the pandemic is not going to get them down, that they're actually going to show up fuller every day, because everything we're doing today, even in this global experience, is going to plant those seeds now that's going to bear fruit later. So I love this show, Wayne, because cutting through is paramount to making the world a better place and having the kind of impact you as an outfluencer is going to have.
Incredible, Tricia. Wow, thank you. This is there's so much in your story. Everything from in purpose versus on purpose. Once you stepped into that, and how much opened up for you, it's so incredible. It's so amazing. Uh, and it is an honor to be working with you. You've opened so many doors for me. You know, you've broadened my perspective, and I was pretty potent in the world already. So, so this is, I'm hoping that our audience understands this, that stepping into your purpose allows you to cut through to more. It allows you to serve more greatly. And that's what this is about. When we touch people's lives, it's, we heal the planet. And that's what we're here to do. So, yeah.
And what an opportunity that we all have right now. Literally, the entire globe is having the same experience. We're all having the experience of COVID-19, a global pandemic. That is fact. It is absolute fact. We can't get around it. We can't move through it quickly. It has to just be what it is. And because we're all having the same experience, it is important now for each of us to use the opportunity through our point of view to create, to innovate, to have gratitude every single day, to build relationships and community, and to have empathy. We now know people are dying every single day. We know people are dying every single day in general, but we are being inundated with the numbers of how, and I'm in New York City, and lots of people are dying every single day. We are also doing everything we can to save the lives here, Cuomo, the nurses. But the reality is we have an opportunity to do better, to cut through things that may have been things we're tolerating, to cut through relationships that we've needed to let go of, to cut through how we're limiting and holding ourselves back. This is an opportunity for absolute greatness and growth. And if we look at it through gratitude and empathy and remind ourselves that relationships and community are everything, and reach out to those people, start conversations, you may actually create work for yourself right now if you don't have any. You may actually create work for yourself down the road because of a conversation you have now. And that's why I think it's so important for us to have this conversation, Wayne, about cutting through, because many people are in fear right now and they're frozen. We don't have to let that happen. We can actually keep the momentum going. We can keep the story moving, as I always say.
Yes.
Because we are going to get through this. I was in Russia during the coup of Gorbachev. I moved to New York City during the height of the AIDS crisis and lost a lot of loved ones and friends. I was here during 9/11, and the H1N1 virus hit when my husband and I were supposed to get married in Mexico, and we had to cancel our wedding. So things happen in life.
You don't see those as signs. That was awesome. I mean, what you've done is you stayed in purpose, you stayed on purpose, and the things around you have been incidental. And that's part of cutting through, is to also cut out. And there's so much noise now. There's so much noise in the media and on social media. What's real, what's not real, and everything seems so real, to the point of absurdity, which, you know, why are there no eggs? Why is there no toilet paper? That's pretty absurd, right? So, you know, I want to get back to something you said and tie two pieces together. You talked about empathy, which is huge. Social isolation, social distancing, physical distancing is the new term, which I love, because physical distancing doesn't mean social isolation. And having empathy still happens even through technology. Being able to hear someone's voice, being able to see someone picking up your technology and having your mirror neurons in your frontal lobe fire off because you're a good human. That's so important. And I think that having empathy, having a driven direction, those are huge traits of powerful leaders. And what you said was, now is a great opportunity for you to find a path where you can serve and maybe create a different job. That's leadership, right? I believe that all humans are leaders. You're being watched somehow, right? Someone's watching you. You get to model how you want to be. And I think that now is a great time to model sound judgment, calm, and positive thought, and get really clear on who you are and where you want to be. Now is a great time for inventory. You've done inventory along the way. Like, what took you? Yes, as a child, you knew you were going to be dancing with Barishnikov. You just knew it. Somehow it's like all of a sudden you were called, and that line was cast, and you were headed there. What did you? Discernment has always been a factor for me in working on what's in and what's out. And when I work with leaders around their direction, around their strategy, around their values, we have to look at what's in, or we get to look at what's in and what's out. What do you value now? What did you value that no longer serves you? And where do you need to be? What do you think you need to take on? Can you talk about some of the transitions in your life where you really still valued something and realized that to serve more greatly, you had to either let it go or change the value you held?
When I was dancing, I was absolutely serving. I knew how to hold the audience in the palm of my hand. I was very, very good at creating that dialogue and that conversation without speaking. It was something I was born to do. It was something the gift was given to me. So I realized in my career, around 15, 20 years into my career, that my reach was limited to the length of the dance, the length of the show, and the number of people in the theater. And when I realized I wanted to have a greater impact in the world and really make a difference in a bigger way, that I would have to move on from being the dancer on the stage.
Mm.
I would have to let go of that part of who I was, or retire that part, or pay homage to that part, and then move on to the person who was going to put other people on stages more frequently, so that I would have more of a reach, the ripple effect would be greater. And that was a really incredible change for me. And many people always ask, it must have been so sad when you stopped dancing. You must have been so sad to give that up.
I had that thought.
You did?
As you're describing it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's who you were, right? So, and this is gigantic because your identity was as a dancer, and we each hold on to our identities until, right?
Right. So when I knew that I was going to wrap up this phase of my life, I produced a one-woman show that I brought in all of the solos that my mentors and choreographers had made on me over the years of my career. And I choreographed 3. I hired a director, and I did a one-woman dance show that was 90 minutes long. I spent 9 months producing it. It was literally like giving birth. I
Mm.
treated it like an athletic event. I understood what I was going to eat, how long I would stand in between, when I would sit in between so that my quads wouldn't burn out. And I spent 9 months creating what I call a Zen Sand Sculpture. This is the Buddhist monks, they create the sand sculpture, and it's a beautiful mandala, and it takes weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's ritualistic and it's quiet and it's beautiful. And when they're finished, they wipe it away.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly how I experienced moving from being a dancer to being a director, producer, choreographer. There was zero sadness. It was perfection. And it freed me up to step into the role of serving other people. And because I'd been on the other side of the table for so long, I also consciously thought, I'm going to be the kind of director that is kind, that
Mm.
is caring, that never makes anyone feel fat, out of shape, not good enough, untalented, all the things that come with being a dancer. And I had an opportunity to change that relationship. And it is something that I'm very proud of. I have actors and dancers to this day, when I call and say, hi, I have a project, they don't even ask me what it is. They just say yes. I don't even know if I can pay them sometimes, or if it's like, I'll buy you food. And they always say yes. And that is why moving from dance into having a wider reach and having more impact and having the ripple effect go beyond me was so important.
Well, you're incredible at it. We have regular calls. I'm working on my keynote. I'm working on my TEDx, and every single call, I learn something. I also feel uplifted, and it is incredible. It carries me through the week while I'm struggling on my next. What am I going to write? What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? How do I change from having an issue to an idea that I want to share? All the nuance, and I feel so supported. You're incredible at what you do. Um, what else should people know about you? I mean, you've got the big talk, you've got why don't you share a little bit more about how people can find you? What if they want to feel what I've felt and what some of your other students have felt?
Well, I work in New York City. I curate the Speaker Salon, which is an in-person incubator for speakers. And at the end of those 6 weeks, I produce a showcase where I invite TEDx organizers, producers, conference organizers, speaker bureaus, speaker agents. And because that's limited to people who can commute into the city every week, I started the Big Talk Academy, which is a 12-week certification program that's online. And of course, I have a membership community because I want anybody who needs the support of a community. I always say, in my community, you might be on stage alone, but you are never by yourself.
Mm.
Because public speaking can be lonely, but you are never by yourself in my community. So I have the Speaker Salon, the Big Talk Academy, the membership community. But what I would love to share, Wayne, is what's up with me is that I was surprised and delighted by the power of the Speakers Who Dare. Speakers Who Dare, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but I'm in New York City. We are in shelter mode through April 15th and probably longer.
Mm.
And my event, Speakers Who Dare, was scheduled for March 24th at the Triad Theater. It seats 130 people. I had 22 speakers. They applied in September of 2019. Everybody's preparing, working really hard. I put on an entire show with Broadway dance, music. There was a band on stage. Tickets had been sold. You were going to attend as a VIP.
Yes.
And we started getting information. No big events.
Right. No gatherings.
No gatherings. Broadway closed. Then no gatherings more than 500, no gatherings more than 50. And I started thinking, how do I make it possible for this incredible group of diverse speakers with diverse ideas to still share their message? So the first thing I did was remove the audience. We'll give everybody a refund. I'll bring in my live stream team. We'll shoot it with 6 cameras. It'll be amazing. 22 speakers, 10 crew. We're under 50. It'll be safe. It'll be great.
I was so excited when you announced that, because I was afraid that it was going to be shut down, and then you were like, you had said, no, we've got 6 cameras. We've got this incredible team. We're going to do it. It's going to be live stream. And then.
Yeah. And we went from an audience of 100, 130 to a global audience because we were live streaming.
Yeah.
And then I remember so clearly, I went for a walk on Sunday before it was right after they closed Broadway. I think it was like March 18th or something. Our event was the 24th. And I thought, I have to protect my speakers. They are all willing to get on planes right now. And I can't let that happen. I can't let them come to New York right now. And how do I still make this possible? I'm a movie maker. I can make a movie. And I reached out to them all and I said, here's what I would love to do. I'm going to give you directions specifically because I know what your talks are about and I know who you are as human beings. And I'm going to suggest things. And if you're willing to take this suggestion and shoot your talk in a movie, I will edit it and we will have Speakers Who Dare feature film 2020. And I will have my live stream tech person go to his apartment safely and live stream it from his computer. And that is what we did. And that is something that I will never forget because the speakers stepped into the role of movie star. They stepped into the role of communicator, and there is nothing like this. It's a speaker event film, and you saw it. These speakers are not standing in front of the camera. They got creative. They pushed the boundaries. They knew that I knew they could do it. And it was something that will forever change me in terms of anything is possible. Yeah. I've always believed anything is possible, but having 22 speakers step into that in front of my eyes, I'm looking to you right now, whoever's watching and listening, anything is possible, period.
Such a great message. Anything is possible. I love how you said, it was like a sudden realization. I'm a movie maker. It's like, oh yeah, that. And it came off so good. It was such a great film. It was such a great film. It was like this series of montage, like and monologue and just heart poured through speaker after speaker, dancer after dancer. You had it peppered with interpretive dance. And everyone's message was so different. I took pages of notes in watching it. It was just so good. So next year, let's assume that there won't be a shutdown, lockdown, etc. And next year, there will be a live Speakers Who Dare.
There will be a live Speakers Who Dare. We open up those applications in September.
That's awesome. All right. So how do people find you? If they go, Tricia Brouk, I got to work with her. How do they find you?
I can be found on Instagram, Tricia Brouk, LinkedIn, Facebook, triciabrouk.com. And I would love to give your listeners the 7-step formula to fearless speaking, because I know everybody's scared to actually step onto a stage, and I will make it easy. And all you have to do is text my name, TRICIA, to the numbers 44222.
All right. I'm putting that in our show notes. So you want Tricia to TRICIA to 44222.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, what a delight. What a pleasure. Thank you. I feel like it's too short. Like I should be spending more time with you. And I'm guessing that we'll do more together on One Sharp Sword. Certainly we're doing more together for the rest of this year. So for our audience, thank you for tuning in. This is One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm Dr. Wayne Pernell. You've been listening to me and Tricia Brouk. Until next time.